The notification popped up on my phone at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Account balance zeroed for zero. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. 10 years. 10 years of skipping dinners out, buying generic everything, wearing the same 3 pairs of jeans until they fell apart. 10 years of watching every penny disappear into that account like prayers into a wishing well. My name is Alana, and I've been saving for a medical procedure that could change my life since I was 19. The condition I have isn't life-threatening, but it's life-limiting in ways that make dating, working, even existing in public a constant source of anxiety and shame. The surgery costs more than most people's cars, and insurance won't touch it because it's considered elective. Elective. As if choosing to live normally is some kind of luxury. I called the bank's automated line 3 times, certain it was a mistake. The robotic voice confirmed what my phone already told me. Someone with signatory access had transferred the entire balance yesterday afternoon. Mom and Dad were the only other people on the account. I'd added them years ago when I was paranoid about something happening to me, wanting someone I trusted to handle things if I couldn't. Trusted. What a joke. I didn't sleep. At 7 a.m., I drove to their house, the same house I'd grown up in, where the kitchen table still had the ring stain from where I'd spilled nail polish in 8th grade. Mom was making coffee, humming some tune from the radio. "Morning, honey. You're up early." "Where's my money?" She didn't even flinch, just kept stirring her coffee like I'd asked about the weather. "Alana, sit down. We need to talk." "I'm not sitting down. Where is it?" Dad appeared in the doorway, already dressed for work, but moving like he was walking through quicksand. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "We used it for Trent's wedding," Mom said, finally turning around. "Paris has her heart set on this venue, and the deposit alone was $43,000. The number came out like a slap. "You stole $43,000 from me." "We didn't steal anything. We're family. We help each other." "Help each other? When have you ever helped me?" Mom's jaw tightened. "We've given you a roof over your head, food, support." "I moved out 6 years ago." "And we've been there for you emotionally through all your challenges." Challenges. She couldn't even say the word condition without looking like she tasted something sour. Dad finally spoke up. "Alana will pay you back. After the wedding, we'll figure out a payment plan." "A payment plan?" I laughed, and it sounded ugly even to me. "Dad, I've been saving for a decade. Do you know what compound interest is? Do you have any idea how long it'll take to rebuild this?" "The wedding is in 3 months," Mom said. "Paris's family is flying in from all over the country. The deposits are non-refundable. What were we supposed to do? Not steal from your daughter? Don't be dramatic." "Dramatic, right. Because wanting the money I'd saved for my own medical care was dramatic. Trent walked in then, hair still messy from sleep, wearing a college t-shirt that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in a month. He grabbed an apple from the counter and took a bite. "What's all the yelling about?" "Your sister's upset about the wedding fund," Mom said. "Oh." Trent looked at me with this expression. Not guilty, not apologetic, just mildly inconvenienced. "You'll get over it, right? I mean, it's not like you were going to use it any time soon." The room went silent except for the sound of him chewing. "Not use it any time soon?" "Come on, Alana. You've been talking about this surgery for years. If you were really going to do it, wouldn't you have done it by now?" I stared at my little brother, golden boy Trent, who'd never worked a day in his life, who'd gotten his college paid for while I took out loans, who'd had his car insurance covered until he was 25, while I'd been on my own since 18. I was scheduled for next month. The apple stopped halfway to his mouth. "The consultation is next week. The surgery is scheduled for 6 weeks from today." Was scheduled. Mom's coffee mug hit the counter harder than necessary. You never told us that. I wanted it to be a surprise. Dad's face went pale. Alana, we didn't know. It doesn't matter, Mom interrupted. What's done is done. We'll figure something out. I looked around the kitchen at the new granite countertops they'd installed last year, the fancy espresso machine that cost more than my rent, the fresh flowers Mom bought every week because she liked how they looked. You're right, I said. What's done is done. I walked out without another word, my phone already buzzing with a text from my best friend Jasmine. Coffee? You sound weird in your voicemail. Weird didn't begin to cover it. But as I drove away from my childhood home, something cold and calculating was already forming in the back of my mind. They thought they knew me. Quiet, responsible Alana, who always rolled over when pushed. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I met Jasmine at our usual coffee shop, the one with mismatched chairs and baristas who knew our orders by heart. She took one look at my face and ordered me a double shot. Okay, spill. What happened? I told her everything. The empty account, Mom's casual justification. Trent shrugged like my decade of sacrifice was just a minor inconvenience. Jasmine's expression shifted from concern to disbelief to pure rage. They what? $43,000. Gone. For his wedding? Are you kidding me? The barista glanced over at Jasmine's raised voice. She lowered it, but her eyes were still blazing. What are you going to do? I don't know. Cancel the surgery, I guess. Start over. Like hell you will. Jasmine leaned forward. Alana, this is theft. Family or not, they stole from you. They're signatories on the account. That doesn't give them the right to. She stopped mid-sentence. Wait, how did you set up that account? Walk me through it. I tried to remember. It was so long ago, back when I was paranoid about everything. I wanted to make sure someone could access it if something happened to me, but I also wanted protection in case the bank failed or something crazy happened. Protection how? I tied it to collateral, made it a secured trust account. Jasmine's eyebrows shot up. What kind of collateral? Their house. I figured it was the safest thing. They'd never do anything to risk their house, right? Alana, Jasmine grabbed my wrist. Do you still have the paperwork? Yeah, it's in my filing cabinet. Why? Because if they use money from a secured trust without authorization, and that trust is backed by their house. She was already pulling out her phone. I'm calling my cousin Marcus. He's a lawyer. Jasmine, I can't afford. Just talk to him, please. 20 minutes later, Marcus was sitting at our table, looking over photos of the trust documents on Jasmine's phone. This is interesting, he said. Very interesting. What does it mean? I asked. It means your parents might have just handed you their house. My coffee went cold in my hands. What? The way this trust is structured, any unauthorized withdrawal triggers a collateral claim. Since they withdrew without your consent and the trust specifically states the funds are for your medical expenses only, they've technically defaulted on the agreement. But they're signatories. Signatory access doesn't override the trust's purpose clause. They could access the account for your medical expenses, not for their own use. Marcus looked up from the phone. How much is their house worth? I don't know. Maybe 300,000? And they took 43,000 without permission. He whistled low. Alana, if you wanted to pursue this, you could potentially force a sale of the house to recover your funds plus damages. The words hit me like a physical blow. Force a sale? Or they could buy out your claim, but given the unauthorized use and the specific language here about medical necessity, he shrugged, you'd have significant leverage. I stared at him. You're saying I could take their house? I'm saying they gambled their house when they took your money. Whether you collect on that bet is up to you. Jasmine was watching me carefully. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I need to go home and look at this paperwork myself. Back at my apartment, I spread the trust documents across my kitchen table. The language was dense, full of legal terms I'd barely understood at 19, but Marcus was right. The trust was crystal clear. Funds were designated solely for my medical treatment, and any misuse would trigger the collateral clause. My phone rang. Mom, Alana, we need to talk. I'm listening. Your father and I have been discussing this. We can give you 5,000 now and then maybe 500 a month until when? Until I'm 50. Don't be ridiculous. We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Mom, do you remember when I set up that medical fund? Of course. You were so worried about everything back then. Do you remember what you signed? A pause. What do you mean? The trust documents, the collateral agreement. Another pause, longer this time. Alana, what are you getting at? I'm getting at the fact that you just gambled your house on Trent's wedding. What are you talking about? The trust was secured against your house, Mom. When you took my money without authorization, you triggered the collateral clause. Silence. Mom? That's ridiculous. You can't take our house. Actually, I can. I've already talked to a lawyer. You're bluffing. Am I? I could hear her breathing, sharp and quick. Alana, you wouldn't do that to your own family. You mean the way you wouldn't steal from your own daughter? We didn't steal. $43,000, Mom. My surgery is in 6 weeks, and you gave my money to Trent for flowers and champagne. We'll pay you back. With what? Dad's retirement fund? Your savings? Oh, wait, you don't have any because you spent it all on your golden boy. Don't talk about your brother like that. Why not? It's true, isn't it? Trent's happiness matters more than mine. It always has. That's not, it is. And now you're going to find out what that really costs. I hung up and stared at the trust documents. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. For the first time in years, I felt powerful. Marcus gave me the name of a specialist, Camilla Boyd, a lawyer who handled trust disputes and family financial conflicts. Her office was in a sleek downtown building, all glass and steel that made me feel underdressed in my Target blazer. So, Camilla said, spreading my documents across her mahogany desk, your parents took $43,000 from a medical trust to pay for your brother's wedding. That's right. And this trust is secured against their primary residence. Yes. She looked up at me, her dark eyes sharp. How badly do you want your money back? What do you mean? I mean, are you looking for a settlement or do you want to make a point? I thought about Trent's casual dismissal, Mom's cold justification, Dad's guilty silence. I want to make a point. Good, because what they did isn't just morally wrong, it's legally actionable. The trust language is airtight. She leaned back in her chair. How much is their house worth? Around 300,000, I think. And they owe how much on the mortgage? I'm not sure. Maybe 100,000? Camilla nodded. Here's what we're going to do. We'll file a claim against the property for the full amount of the unauthorized withdrawal, plus interest, plus damages for the medical delay. Given the specific language about medical necessity, we can argue significant harm. What does that mean exactly? It means we're not just asking for your $43,000 back. We're asking for compensation for the fact that they prevented you from getting necessary medical treatment. My stomach flipped. How much compensation? Could be anywhere from 20 to 50,000 depending on how we frame the medical impact. So we're talking about almost 100,000 total? Potentially, yes. I stared at the documents. That's more than they probably have in equity. Exactly. which means they'll either have to sell the house or find another way to pay you. Camilla's smile was sharp. Either way, they'll understand the real cost of their decision. How long will this take? I can have the initial claim filed by tomorrow. They'll have 30 days to respond or contest. If they don't pay or reach a settlement, we can move to force the sale. And they'll know it's me? Oh, they'll know. The claim will be filed in your name and they'll receive official notice. I signed the retainer agreement with hands that barely shook. Walking out of that office, I felt like I was carrying a loaded weapon. My phone buzzed before I even reached my car. Trent. Alana, what the hell are you doing? I'm getting my money back. Mom's freaking out. She says you're trying to take the house. I'm not trying to take anything. I'm collecting on what they owe me. This is insane. It's just money. Just money? I laughed. Trent, it's my surgery money. It's 10 years of my life. You can save up again. Can I? I'm 29. The condition gets worse with age. This might have been my only real chance. Come on, don't be so dramatic. There was that word again, dramatic. You know what's dramatic, Trent? Having a wedding that costs more than most people make in a year? Paris deserves her dream wedding, and I deserved my surgery. That's different. How? How is it different? Silence. Because it's not life or death, he finally said. Neither is your wedding. Alana, please, can't we work something out? I'll pay you back myself. With what money? You don't even have a job. I'm starting at Dad's company next month. Making what? 40,000 a year? It'll take you decades to pay me back, assuming you actually do it instead of finding excuses. I promise I will. Your promises don't mean much to me right now. What do you want me to do? Cancel the wedding? Tell Paris's family not to come? I want you to figure out how to pay me back without destroying my life in the process. We can't just magic up $43,000. You magicked it up pretty easily when you needed it. The line went quiet except for his breathing. Trent. This is going to destroy our family. No, what you and Mom and Dad did is what destroyed our family. I'm just making sure there are consequences. Alana, please. The legal papers will be filed tomorrow. You have 30 days to figure it out. I hung up and sat in my car staring at Camilla's business card. My phone immediately started ringing again. Mom this time, then Dad, then Trent again. I turned it off. That evening, Jasmine came over with Thai food and wine. So you're really doing this? I'm really doing this. How do you feel? I thought about it. Terrified and angry and, I paused, powerful. For the first time in my life, I feel like I have power over what happens to me. Your parents are going to hate you. They already chose Trent over me. At least now they'll pay for it. Jasmine raised her wine glass. 2 consequences. 2 consequences. We clinked glasses, and I felt something settle in my chest. Not peace exactly, but determination. Tomorrow my family would learn what it really cost to betray me. The legal notice arrived at my parents' house on a Thursday. I know because Mom called me 17 times that day, and I ignored every single one. Friday morning she showed up at my apartment. Open this door, Alana. We need to talk. I opened it but didn't invite her in. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her usually perfect hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. You can't be serious about this lawsuit. I'm completely serious. It's our house, Alana. We've lived there for 25 years. And you used it as collateral when you set up my trust. You knew the risks. We didn't know. You didn't read what you signed. That's not my problem. She pushed past me into my living room. This is ridiculous. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. We borrowed from you. There's a difference. Without asking, without telling me, for something completely unrelated to what the money was for. Mom sat down on my couch like she owned the place. Paris is beside herself. The wedding is in 10 weeks. So? So her parents are asking questions. They want to know why we're being sued by our own daughter. Tell them the truth. The truth? Mom's voice went shrill. The truth is you're trying to destroy your brother's happiness over money. The truth is you stole my surgery money to pay for his party. It's not a party, it's a wedding. Same thing. Mom stood up, pacing to my window. What do you want, Alana? Really? Do you want us to lose our house? I want my money back. We don't have it. Then you shouldn't have spent it. We can get a loan. Against what? Your house is already collateral for my trust. She spun around. There has to be another way. There is. Cancel the wedding. Get refunds where you can. Use that money to pay me back. We can't cancel the wedding. Why not? Because she struggled for words. Because Paris's family, the deposits, the venue, because it would embarrass you. That's not it is. You'd rather lose your house than admit you made a mistake. Mom's face crumpled. Please, Alana, I'm begging you, don't do this to us. You did this to yourselves. She left without another word. That weekend I got a call from Paris. Alana, it's Paris. We need to talk. About what? About this lawsuit. Trent told me what's happening. Did he tell you where the money for your wedding came from? A pause. He said it was from a family fund. It was from my medical fund, money I saved for 10 years for a surgery. Oh, another pause. I didn't know that. Would it have mattered if you did? Of course it would have mattered. I'm not a monster. Then help me get it back? How? Scale down the wedding. Get refunds. Use that money to pay me back. Alana, we can't just change everything now. My family is flying in from 3 states. The invitations are already sent. So? So it's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. You just don't want to do it. That's not fair. What's not fair is stealing someone's surgery money for flowers and cake. We didn't steal. Yes, you did. You all did. And now you're all going to pay for it. I hung up. Monday morning, Camilla called. Your parents' lawyer wants to meet. They hired a lawyer? Gerald Hoffman. He's decent, but he's working with a bad hand. They want to negotiate. What are they offering? $20,000 now, the rest in payments over 5 years. No, I figured you'd say that. What about $30,000 now, rest over 3 years? Camilla, I don't want a payment plan. I want my money back and I want them to understand what they did. Understood. I'll tell Hoffman we're not interested in extended payments. What happens next? We wait for their next move. They have 3 weeks left to respond to the claim. That evening, Dad showed up at my door. He looked older than I'd ever seen him, his shoulders slumped like he was carrying something heavy. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He sat at my kitchen table, staring at his hands. Your mother's not sleeping. Neither am I. Alana, I know we messed up. Do you? Because Mom seems to think this is all my fault. She's scared. We both are. You should be. He looked up at me. What do you want us to do? I want you to find a way to pay me back without destroying my life in the process. We're trying. Are you? Because it seems like you're trying to find a way to keep the money and avoid consequences. That's not true. Then prove it. Dad was quiet for a long moment. The house is all we have, Alana. If we lose it. You should have thought of that before you spent my money. I know we should have. He rubbed his face. I wanted to ask you first. I told your mother we should ask you first. But you didn't. No, I didn't. Why not? Because she said you'd say no. I would have said no. Then what was I supposed to do? Not steal from me. We sat in silence. Finally, Dad stood up. I'm sorry, Alana. I'm truly sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I know. After he left, I called Camila. How's it going? She asked. They're scared. Good. Scared people make better decisions. What if they can't pay? Then we take the house. And if they can pay, then you get your money back and they learn a very expensive lesson. Either way, I win. Either way, there are consequences for what they did. Whether that's winning depends on how you define victory. I thought about that after we hung up. Victory. What did victory look like when your own family was the enemy? I guess I was about to find out. The wedding was beautiful. I'll give Paris that much. The venue was everything she dreamed of. A historic mansion with gardens that looked like something from a fairy tale. White roses everywhere, string quartet during the ceremony, reception dinner that probably cost more per plate than I spent on groceries in a month. I wore the navy dress I'd bought for job interviews, sat in the back, and smiled when people looked at me. The perfect sister, supportive and happy for the happy couple. Nobody knew I was carrying legal documents in my purse. You look beautiful, I told Paris during the cocktail hour. She was glowing in her designer dress, surrounded by bridesmaids taking endless photos. Thank you for being here, she said, squeezing my hand. I know things have been complicated. It's your day. Nothing else matters. She smiled, but there was something uncertain in her eyes. Alana, about the money thing. Not today, I said. Today is about you and Trent. The ceremony was perfect. Trent looked handsome in his tuxedo. Paris was radiant, and when they kissed, everyone cheered. I clapped along with everyone else. During dinner, I sat at the family table between two of my cousins, who kept asking about my job, my dating life, when I was going to settle down. Normal family wedding conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, the DJ announced, the bride and groom would like to say a few words. Trent took the microphone, his arm around Paris's waist. We just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. This has been the most amazing day of our lives. Applause. We especially want to thank our families for making this possible, Paris added. We couldn't have done this without your love and support. More applause. Mom was crying happy tears at the head table. And we want to thank my parents, Trent continued, for their incredible generosity. They made sacrifices to give us this perfect day, and we'll never forget that. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Sacrifices. He was talking about my money like it was their sacrifice. The speeches continued, toasts were made, the cake was cut, the dancing began. I waited until the party was in full swing before I walked over to Mom and Dad's table. They were laughing with Paris's parents, sharing stories about the kids. Mom, could I talk to you for a minute? She looked up, her face flushed from champagne. Of course, honey. What is it? I handed her the envelope. This came for you yesterday. I thought you should have it tonight. She opened it, still smiling, probably expecting a card or something sweet. Her face changed as she read. What is this? It's the final notice. You have 72 hours to pay the full amount, or the house goes into foreclosure proceedings. The color drained from her face. You're serving me legal papers at your brother's wedding? I'm giving you information you need to have. Dad leaned over to read the document. His hands started shaking. Alana, Mom hissed, this is not the time or place. When would be the right time? When would be convenient for you to face the consequences of what you did? Paris's father looked confused. Is everything all right? Everything's fine, Mom said quickly, but her voice was too high. Actually, everything's not fine, I said. Mom and Dad stole $43,000 from my medical fund to pay for this wedding. The table went silent. Alana? Mom stood up so fast her chair tipped over. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth. This is your brother's wedding. This is my brother's wedding that was paid for with my surgery money. Paris's mother gasped. What surgery money? I've been saving for 10 years for a medical procedure. My parents were signatories on the account and they cleaned it out without telling me to pay for all this. I gestured around the room. That's not, Dad started. It's exactly what happened, and now they're being sued because the account was secured against their house. Paris appeared at the table, still in her wedding dress. What's going on? Your new in-laws are about to lose their house, I said, because they gambled it to pay for your party. Alana, stop, Trent said, rushing over. What are you doing? I'm making sure everyone knows what this wedding really cost. You're ruining everything. No, Trent, you ruined everything when you decided my medical care was less important than your party. The music was still playing, but people were starting to stare. The fairy tale was cracking. Please, Paris whispered, can't we discuss this privately? We tried discussing it privately. Your husband told me I'd get over it. Your mother-in-law told me his happiness mattered more than mine. That's not what I said, Mom protested. It's exactly what you said. Trent grabbed my arm. You need to leave now. I pulled away from him. I'm not going anywhere. I paid for this party, remember? I should at least get to enjoy it. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. Paris started crying. Her perfect makeup was running. Her perfect day was falling apart. I didn't know, she sobbed. I swear I didn't know where the money came from. But you do now, I said. So what are you going to do about it? What can we do? The wedding's over. The money's spent. You can help them figure out how to pay me back. You can sell the gifts, return what you can, liquidate whatever you need to liquidate. Those are our wedding gifts. Bought with my money. The whole table was staring now. Other guests were starting to notice the commotion. Alana, Dad said quietly, please, not here. Where then, Dad? When? You've had weeks to figure this out, and instead you hired a lawyer to try to get out of paying me back. We're trying to work something out. You're trying to avoid consequences, but consequences don't care about your timeline. I picked up my purse. You have 72 hours. After that, Camila starts foreclosure proceedings. Wait, Paris called out. What if we can get some of the money back? What if we return things, cancel the honeymoon? Then you better start making calls. I walked away from the table, past the dancing couples, past the fairy lights and flowers, past the life-size photos of the happy couple. At the exit, I turned back. The party was still going, but there was a knot of drama at the family table that was spreading outward like ripples in a pond. Perfect wedding, perfect disaster, exactly what they deserved. The story hit the local Facebook groups by Sunday morning. Someone at the wedding had recorded the whole confrontation on their phone. Family drama explodes at local wedding. Bride's sister-in-law claims parents stole surgery money. The video was grainy, but you could hear everything. My voice saying, stole $43,000. Paris crying, Mom's chair falling over. By noon, it had been shared 300 times. Jasmine called me around 1. Girl, you're famous. I saw. How do you feel about it? I don't know. Exposed, I guess. The comments are wild. Half the people are calling you a hero. Half are saying you're a monster for ruining the wedding. What do you think? I think your family had it coming. My phone had been ringing all morning. Reporters from 2 local news stations, a blogger who covered family justice stories, and about 50 calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I'd turned it off after the first hour. Monday morning, Camila called my work line. We need to meet today. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. Your parents want to settle. I met her at her office during my lunch break. She was grinning when I walked in. They're offering the full amount, $43,000 plus $20,000 in damages, plus all legal fees. $63,000 total, plus fees. So closer to $70,000. I sat down hard. Where are they getting that kind of money? They're selling the house. What? They listed it this morning. Their realtor thinks they can get $320 for it, maybe $330. After paying off the mortgage and covering the settlement, they'll have maybe $50,000 left. Where will they live? Not your problem. But it felt like my problem. Did they say anything else? Their lawyer said they want this resolved quickly and quietly. No more media attention. Too late for that. The Facebook thing, that's actually working in our favor. Public pressure is making them want to settle fast. I stared out her office window. What if I said no to $70,000? What if I wanted to push for more? Camila leaned back in her chair. We could probably get more. The media attention, the clear breach of trust, the medical necessity angle. We could push for $100,000, maybe more. But at some point you're not seeking justice anymore. You're seeking revenge. What's the difference? Justice is getting back what was taken from you. Revenge is making sure they suffer for taking it. I thought about Mom's face when she read the legal papers. Dad's shaking hands, Paris crying in her wedding dress. They're suffering already. Yes, they are. Is that enough? Only you can answer that. I left Camila's office without giving her an answer. That evening, Trent showed up at my apartment. He looked terrible, unshaven, wearing the same clothes from the day before. Can I come in? I let him in. He collapsed on my couch like he hadn't slept in days. Paris left. What? She went to her parents' house, says she needs time to think about everything. I'm sorry. Are you? Because it seems like you wanted to destroy my marriage. I wanted my money back. Well, congratulations. You're getting it. Mom and Dad are selling the house. I heard. They're going to have to move into some crappy apartment. Dad's talking about working until he's 70 now because they won't have any equity left. They should have thought of that before they spent my money. It was a mistake, Alana. People make mistakes. $43,000 isn't a mistake. It's a choice. Trent put his head in his hands. What do you want me to say? That we were wrong? Fine, we were wrong. That we should have asked you first? We should have. That we're sorry? We are. What else do you want? I want you to understand what you did to me. I understand. No, you don't. You think this is about money. It's not about money. Then what's it about? It's about the fact that you've never had to sacrifice anything for anyone else in your entire life. It's about the fact that Mom and Dad have always chosen you over me, and you've always just accepted it like it was your right. That's not true. It is true. When we were kids, who got the bigger room? You. Who got the car when they turned 16? You. Who got college paid for? You. Who got their car insurance covered until they were 25? You. That's different. How is it different? Because you're stronger than me. You've always been more independent. I'm not stronger, Trent. I just never had a choice. He looked up at me. So this is payback for our whole childhood? This is consequences for stealing my surgery money. The surgery you can afford now because of the settlement. The surgery I might not be able to get anymore because of the stress and delay. His face went pale. What do you mean? I mean my condition has gotten worse. The doctor isn't sure the procedure will be as effective now. Alana, you didn't just take my money, Trent. You might have taken my chance at getting better. We sat in silence. Finally he spoke. What can I do? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. There has to be something. There isn't. The damage is done. He stood up to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know you are. but sorry doesn't fix this. After he left, I called Camila. I'll take the settlement. All of it? 70,000? All of it. Good choice. I'll have the papers drawn up tomorrow. Camila? Yeah? Do you think I'm a bad person? I think you're a person who got screwed over by her family and decided to fight back. Whether that makes you bad or good depends on who's judging. What do you think? I think your family learned a very expensive lesson about consequences, and I think you got justice, even if it doesn't feel like victory. She was right. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like the end of everything I'd ever known. The house sold in 3 days. Cash offer, 10,000 over asking price. Mom called to tell me, her voice flat and mechanical. The closing is next Friday. We have to be out by the weekend. Where will you go? There's an apartment complex on Maple Street, 2 bedrooms, 800 square feet. I knew the place. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the 4-bedroom house with the big backyard where they'd lived for 25 years. Mom, the settlement check will be ready Tuesday. Camilla said you can pick it up then. She hung up without saying goodbye. Tuesday morning, I held the check in my hands, $70,000. More money than I'd ever seen at once. Enough for the surgery, enough to start over, enough to prove I'd won. So why did I feel so empty? I deposited the check and drove to my parents' old house. There was a sold sign in the front yard and a moving truck in the driveway. Dad was loading boxes, his movements slow and careful, like he was afraid he might break something. Need help? He looked up surprised. Alana, what are you doing here? I don't know. We stood there awkwardly. He was wearing his old work clothes, the ones he usually saved for yard work. His face was gray with exhaustion. How's the packing going? It's going. He gestured at the truck. 25 years of stuff, amazing how much you accumulate. Where's Mom? Inside, going through photo albums. She's been at it for hours. I walked up to the front door, the same door I'd walked through thousands of times as a kid. The house felt different now, hollow, like it was already grieving. Mom was sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by photo albums and loose pictures. She looked up when I came in, her eyes red and swollen. Come to gloat? No. Then why are you here? I wanted to see if you needed help. She laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. Help? You've helped enough. I sat down across from her. The photos were spread out like a timeline. Baby pictures, school events, family vacations, Christmas mornings. Look at this, she said, holding up a picture of Trent and me at maybe 8 and 6, both grinning at the camera with chocolate cake smeared on our faces. Remember this? Your 6th birthday. You insisted we have chocolate cake even though Trent hated chocolate. I remember. And this one. Another photo. Trent and me building a snowman. The blizzard of 2003. School was canceled for a week. Mom, why are you showing me these? Because I'm trying to remember when it all went wrong. She picked up another photo. Family portrait from when I was maybe 15. We all looked happy, normal. Was I really such a terrible mother? You weren't terrible, but I wasn't good either. I looked at the photos scattered around us. You did your best. Did I? Because it feels like I failed both of you. I failed you by not treating you fairly, and I failed Trent by not teaching him consequences. Mom, he called this morning. Paris filed for divorce. The words hit me like a slap. What? She can't handle the scandal. Her family is humiliated. She says she married into a family of thieves and liars. I didn't mean for that to happen. Didn't you? I stared at her. No, I wanted my money back. I wanted you to understand what you did to me. Well, we understand now. Trent's marriage is over. We're losing our home. Your father might have to work until he dies, and you... She looked at me with something that might have been pity. You got your money, but you lost your family. I lost my family when you chose Trent over me. Maybe, or maybe we all just lost each other. Dad appeared in the doorway. The truck's loaded. We should go. Mom started gathering the photos. What do I do with all these? Take them, I said. Take whatever you want. What's the point? Half of them are of you, and you'll never speak to us again. That's not true, isn't it? I helped her pack the photos into boxes. We worked in silence, handling memories like they were made of glass. As they were leaving, Dad stopped at his car. Alana, I want you to know, I never wanted any of this to happen. I know. I should have stopped it. I should have stood up to your mother, should have protected your money, should have been a better father to both of you. Dad, I'm proud of you for fighting back. I'm ashamed it came to this, but I'm proud of you for not just taking it. He got in the car and drove away. Mom didn't look back. I stood in the empty driveway of the house I'd grown up in, holding the keys the realtor had given me to lock up. The new owners wouldn't take possession for another week. My phone buzzed, a text from my doctor's office. Hi, Alana. We need to discuss some complications with your upcoming procedure. Can you call us? I stared at the message, then at the empty house, then at the settlement check in my bank account. I'd won. I'd gotten my money back, proven my point, made them all pay for what they'd done to me. So why did victory taste like ashes? I locked the front door and walked away from my childhood home for the last time, carrying the weight of everything I'd gained and everything I'd lost. The math didn't add up the way I'd thought it would. The doctor's news was worse than I'd expected. The stress and delay have caused additional complications, Dr. Martinez explained, pointing to the new scans. The procedure is still possible, but the success rate has dropped significantly. We're looking at maybe 60% effectiveness instead of the 90% we discussed originally. I sat in the sterile office, staring at images of my own body that looked like abstract art. What does that mean exactly? It means the surgery might help, but it might not. And if it doesn't work, we can't try again. So I get one shot. One shot. I scheduled the surgery for the following month and left the office feeling like I was carrying a bomb with a timer I couldn't see. That evening, Jasmine came over with pizza and wine. So, what are you going to do? Have the surgery, I guess. It's what I saved for. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. She poured herself wine. Have you talked to any of them? No. Alana? What? What am I supposed to say? Sorry I destroyed your lives, but you started it? Maybe start with I'm sorry Paris left Trent. Am I sorry about that? Are you? I thought about it. I'm sorry he's hurt. I'm not sorry there were consequences. That's honest, at least. We ate pizza in silence for a while. Finally, Jasmine spoke up. You know what's funny? You got everything you wanted and you're miserable. I'm not miserable. You're not happy either? She was right. The money was in my account. The surgery was scheduled. My family had learned their lesson. But I felt hollow, like I'd won a game that nobody should have been playing. What would you do? I asked. I don't know, but I know what my grandmother would have done. What? She would have said that revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Your grandmother sounds wise. She was. She also would have said that family is family, even when they're idiots. The next morning, I drove to the apartment complex on Maple Street. It took me 20 minutes to work up the courage to knock on the door. Mom answered, looking older than I remembered. The apartment behind her was tiny, cramped with furniture that had been meant for a much bigger space. Alana? Hi, Mom. What do you want? I wanted to see how you were settling in. She stepped aside to let me in. Dad was sitting at a small kitchen table, reading the newspaper. He looked up when I entered. "How are you doing, Dad?" "We're managing." The apartment was clean but depressing. Their big dining room table was crammed into a space meant for a bistro set. Family photos were stacked on every available surface because there wasn't enough wall space to hang them all. "I heard about Paris and Trent." "Did you?" Mom's voice was sharp. "Are you here to celebrate?" "No, I'm here because I'm having the surgery next month." Dad folded his newspaper. "That's good news." "Maybe. The doctor says the delay caused complications. It might not work." Mom sat down heavily. "What does that mean?" "It means I might have destroyed our family for nothing." We sat in silence. Finally, Dad spoke. "It wasn't for nothing. We needed to learn this lesson." "Did we? Because it feels like we all just lost." "You got your money back," Mom said. "I got money back. I lost my family." "You chose that." "We all chose that." Mom looked around the cramped apartment. "I keep thinking about that trust document you had us sign. You were 19 and you were already planning for the worst case scenario." "I was trying to protect myself. From us. From everyone. But especially from us." I nodded. "Why?" Dad asked. "What did we do that made you think you needed protection from your own parents?" "You always chose Trent over me. Always. And I knew that if it came down to his needs versus mine, you'd pick him." "So you set a trap." "I set a boundary. You crossed it." Mom started crying. "I'm sorry, Alana. I'm so sorry we made you feel like you had to protect yourself from us." "I'm sorry, too. I'm sorry I had to hurt you to make you understand." Dad reached across the table and took my hand. "What happens now?" "I don't know. I have the surgery and we see if it works. You figure out how to live in this apartment. Trent figures out how to live without Paris." "And us?" Mom asked. "What happens to us?" I looked around the apartment, at the cramped space, the stacked photos, the parents who looked smaller and older than they had a month ago. "I don't know, but I know I don't want to lose you completely." "Even after everything?" "Especially after everything." Mom wiped her eyes. "The surgery. Do you want us to be there?" "Would you want to be there?" "Of course we would." "Then yes." Dad squeezed my hand. "Whatever happens with the surgery, we'll figure out the rest." "Will we?" "We have to. We're family." "Even after all this?" "Especially after all this." I stayed for dinner, take-out Chinese food eaten off paper plates because half their dishes were still in boxes. We talked about safe things, the weather, Dad's job, the neighbors in the new building. When I left, Mom hugged me at the door. "I love you, Alana. I know I didn't show it the right way, but I do love you." "I love you too, Mom." "Are you going to be okay?" "I don't know, but I'm going to try." Driving home, I thought about what Jasmine's grandmother had said about revenge and poison. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had been drinking poison, expecting my family to die from it. But maybe some poison is medicine if you don't take too much. Maybe some families need to break before they can heal. Maybe some truths are worth the cost of telling them. The surgery was scheduled for 3 weeks away. Whatever happened, I'd face it with my family beside me, broken, complicated, and finally honest about who we really were. It wasn't the ending I'd planned for, but it was the one we'd all earned, and maybe that was enough.